What's up everyone, Willie Apple here, and just today, Apple has released the biggest update in a long time, iOS 16. In this video, I will be showing you what is new in iOS 16. This update came out for the iPhone 8 and later, and we got a lot to cover today, so get ready. Upon updating to iOS 16, you notice that lock screens are completely redesigned. Upon using Face ID and haptic pressing, you will notice that there's a new lock screen manager. You can add a bunch of lock screens. There's just a lot more customization to choose from with iOS 16. You can also add widgets, so like with this one, there are widgets right here. And not only can you add widgets, you can also customize lock screens and even edit what it says up here. So there's a lot to choose from up here, and you can even change the font. This is what it looked like before, and this is what it looks like by default. There's a lot more customization with iOS 16. And you can even link a lock screen to a focus mode. So if I wanted to, I could set up this for personal, or I could just do normal do not disturb right here. If I were to go into do not disturb, the lock screen would change just like that. So that is what happens when you link a lock screen to a focus. And it's not only lock screens that you can customize from here. So let's say I want to add a new one. Let's just do color for now, and then let's do that color. I can even customize the home screen right here. And just like before, you can have a separate home screen. You can add a bit of blur if you like, or supported home screens. And you can have a lot of customization right here. Get a brand new messages app in iOS 16. So let's say I just send a random thing right here. I can now haptic press on here and then undo send, and it will just completely wipe out just like that. Also say to the other person that you unsent a message, and you can even edit a message, so let me just send that out. And then I can now haptic press, and then press edit, and we can now edit what it says on the other person's side, just like that. Audio messages has also moved to right here to a less annoying spot. I remember accidentally triggering it when it was right here. Now we can tap and hold right here, and it works just like it did, and it's just a lot less annoying since I used to accidentally send this all the time. In iOS 16, we now have the ability to mark people unread, and it will show a notification on the dock on the bottom. So it's just a reminder right there that you have a message that you need to respond to, and it's really useful for people like me, and I respond to them as soon as I can. If we were to accidentally delete an entire message conversation, we now have the option to show recently deleted. Upon tapping this, and on the bottom we can permanently delete it or recover that entire message history, just like that. In group chats, if you were to mention someone, it will actually say their name, and along with that, there's a profile picture, and there are also a bunch of smaller features in the Messages app. For example, if you have a dual SIM, you will now be able to sort messages via being dual SIM. If you're chatting with a friend that uses metric system and you use imperial system, you can now tap right here, and you can convert it from Fahrenheit to Celsius. And you see right there, that's what it would be in Celsius. There's Fahrenheit right there, and there's even Kelvin. You can even convert imperial to metric, as you can see right there. There it is in metric, and there's also the imperial conversions right there as well. You can now even do share play inside of messages, so if I wanted to share a playlist song, I don't need to be in a FaceTime call anymore, so let me do it with myself real quickly. You can see that I can now do messages and FaceTime. So if I were to do messages right here, I would now be able to do share play, and the other person would be able to listen to the song while I am listening to the song, and we could chat via iMessage instead of doing it all through FaceTime. If we were to go into settings and scroll down to battery, on supported iPhones we now have the ability to use battery percentage. So this is turned off by default if you don't like it. I know some people don't like it, but I personally like having the battery percentage there, and you can add it just like that. For iPhones that have always had the battery percentage, you can now turn off the battery percentage with low power mode turned on. So before this would force it on all the time, but now you can turn it off and you have low power mode without the battery percentage. If we were to connect a pair of AirPods and put them into our ears right here, you will notice that we have AirPod settings directly right here. We also have something called personalized spatial audio. That will make spatial audio a lot better since everyone's ears are different. And then it will let me continue. It's basically setting up as Face ID. And once personalized spatial audio is set up, music with spatial audio will sound a lot better, and I can experience this myself. You can also take a look at the version number for the AirPods, and if we were to go to this website, this is supposedly going to take us to Apple's website to show us what is new with AirPods when firmware update. Focus mode gets a bunch of major updates, so if you were to go to settings, go down to focus, and make a new focus, you can even do it with an existing one. one, you have more options to choose from. So you can even change your Apple Watch lock screen and of course your iPhone lock screen. And for choosing people to allow, you can choose to silence only from these people and to only allow notifications from these people. So if you wanted to create a focus for ignoring other people for some reason, you can do that now in iOS 16. You can even choose notifications from specific apps as well with a focus. Oh yeah, and apps can now take advantage of a new focus API to mark you as Do Not Disturb on that app. So you don't need to manually go into every single app and mark yourself as Do Not Disturb. If you take a photo of something with an object in it and it pops out, you can now take it and put it into another app. For example, messages. If I want to send this MacBook to someone in messages, or I could send an email, and then I could just drop it in the email just like that, and now I have the MacBook inside of the email. And this doesn't only work for objects, you can even do it with humans and even dogs or other animals, just as long as it looks like it is the main focus of the image. Your hidden and recently deleted are now also locked with a Face ID or a passcode, so it'll ask for either Face ID or Touch ID or passcode. It just makes things more secure, and it makes sense for hidden, but I'm not sure why it's on recently deleted. Who knows? And we even have something else called duplicates. Going in here will let you merge all your duplicate images, so if I wanted to merge this, it will keep the higher quality one and it will let me merge them just like that. And if you want to do them quickly, all you gotta do is press select all, and then merge just like that. And everything will be merged just like that. We even have duplicates for contacts, so if you have a duplicate contact, you'll be able to see that we can merge them inside of the Contacts app as well. So if you have multiple people named Test or whatever this is, with this strange phone number right here, you will now be able to merge them, and just like that, it is now fixed. Live text has also come to videos, so if you were to pause a video, you can now take text from a video and copy it just like that. You can now connect multiple controllers to an iPhone running iOS 16, and that means that we now have support for Joy-Cons. As you can see, they both appear right there, and after connecting them, they work just like they would if you had two other controllers connected to them. Here's just a quick demo of me using Joy-Cons to play Minecraft real quickly, and as you can see, they work just like they would if this was actually a Nintendo Switch, but better since the iPhone has a more powerful processor. If you have not seen my video of me turning my iPad into a Nintendo Switch, you could check that out up. Music gets a bunch of changes, so you can now actually follow artists by going to their page, and you can press a star right here and it will actually follow them. And when new music comes out for them, you can now allow, and notifications will come up just like that. The music player also gets redesigned. You can now press and hold right here and tap anywhere, and you no longer need to press and hold on a little circle thing. Same with volume right here as well. The lock screen player gets redesigned and put down here as well, so you can have album art right here, but just by tapping this thing right here, and you can make it disappear by tapping somewhere else, and it makes it look really cool. I actually really like this feature a lot with iOS 16. The music player is part of a new API called Live Activities, which will come out in most likely iOS 16.1 for other apps. So all you gotta do is take a look at your screen. You don't need to take a look at emails or notifications. Just take a look at your home screen and you'll see that your Uber delivery is on its way. And for the dynamic island, developers can take advantage of that up there, and the music player also lives in the dynamic island on the iPhone 14 Pro. You can even set a timer and that will also appear right here in the live activity. Mail app gets a bunch of changes, so if we were to tap and hold right here, you could schedule a send right here. If you also send an email right here, you can also unsend a message. Upon unsending, you can even edit the message and even send it once again once you are ready. You can also remind yourself with emails when you want to get reminded about the email. So let's say this email is important. I can remind myself in an hour, tonight, tomorrow, or I can remind later. It's just a very useful tool in the Mail app. Remember that weird gimmicky quick note feature that we got on the iPad and Mac last year? Well, it's now on iPhone. All you gotta do is go to Settings, Control Center, and scroll down to Quick Note, and that will add it to the Control Center right here. And upon tapping this, you can make a note just like that. And yeah, it's just as gimmicky as it is on iPad and Mac, because all you gotta do is just make a note just like that and then press this button right here. You can even pin notes to the top of the thing right here, so if I were to work on these notes right here, this note will always be on top since it is pinned. You can also pin reminders lists to the top of your reminders app just like that. Don't know why we did not have this before. We also have a new completed section right here. Upon tapping this, it will show you all your completed reminders. and you can even hide the stock list just like that just by pressing hide. You can now add up to 15 stops here in the Maps app. So let's say I wanted to go to this Apple store while going to the Grand Canyon from Apple Park. And let's say I also want to go to this hotel right here. We can add up to 15 stops if we want. When generating passwords, we now have more options. So we could have no special characters, we can have easy to type, we can even edit the password given to us. We now have more options when we find stuff on a page. So if we were to tap the search button right here, we can now search for whole words or we can match the case. Sharing tab groups is a lot better. So before I would just send the person you are sending it to as links, like just multiple random links. But now you can see where the person are in the tab groups, and it's just a lot better. It's marked as collaboration, as you can see right there, and it's honestly something to look forward to if you do a lot of group projects in school or stuff. An ongoing effort to remove passwords by Apple has made something new called passkeys. So basically you would use Face ID or Touch ID to log into stuff. Now how would you log it in on a computer? Well, obviously on a Mac you can do Touch ID, but for Windows and Chromebooks and all those other computers, you can actually scan a QR code with your iPhone. Apple's also trying to remove this pain from users, the captchas. So basically, Apple's trying to have an API for websites where it would tell the website that they are not a robot. It'll just make verifying that you are not a robot a lot easier and eliminate the need for these annoying boxes. Dictation also gets a lot better in iOS 16. First of all, there are some new sounds with Dictation. As you can see right here where I'm pointing, it added punctuation in by itself. I can also add emojis. Smiling face emoji. Heart emoji. I can even edit stuff while using Dictation without needing to say it. Processing is all now done on device as well. There are some new system sounds for Find My. And there's also one for Siri. Face ID works sideways now, so as you can see, my phone is sideways, and I can unlock it sideways, just like that. If we go to Settings, Sounds and Haptics, and scroll down to Keyboard Feedback, we now have an option for Haptic. Using haptic feedback, it will make the keyboard vibrate the phone a little bit, and give you more feedback to you. In the Translate app, if we go into the Translate app and go down to Camera right here, we can now take a picture of what we want translated. I will tell you what it says, and obviously I don't have good handwriting, so what I'm trying to have you do is subscribe to my channel. Thank you. The Weather app has multiple changes. You can now show a graph of a different day, so if I wanted Wednesday, I could see everything here. I could see the temperature, I could see precipitation, I could see visibility, I could see all of this stuff on a different day that isn't today. This also applies to any widget down here in the Weather app, and you can also add up to 50 cities instead of 20 by going here and adding any city you want, and you can add up to 50 rather than 20. The Weather app also takes from a different source and should be a lot more reliable. We have a couple of new features inside of iOS 16 related to privacy and security. First one is called Safety Check. This basically will revoke all access to everyone just in case something bad happens. And there's also something else called Lockdown Mode. This will prevent malware to targeted people and make sure they don't get hacked. This is in response to the Pegasus spyware that we had last year. And if you're a hacker, you can actually get a bounty from Apple if you submit something to them, since they are very confident that this will prevent stuff like the Pegasus spyware. If we take a look at software update right here and go to automatic updates, we have a new toggle for security, responses, and system files. This will basically install security updates in the background, and YouTubers like myself won't need to make an entire video just for a security update, since that would be a little bit redundant and weird in my opinion. So it's a good thing security updates are now done in the background without needing to restart your phone. We have a couple of changes related to Carplay. The first one has to do with the podcast app being a lot better in Carplay. Next, we have 3 new wallpapers inside of settings for Carplay. And third, we get a major update to Carplay. Cars need to support this first, and apparently it's going to take until 2023 for cars to support this. Your iPhone will be able to take advantage of all the displays inside of your car. And Apple can take over the speedometer and the air conditioning controls and even the radio. This is basically in response to Tesla. There are 2 new widgets inside of iOS 16, the Books widget and the Sleep widget. These widgets are completely new. There's a new user interface for FaceTime. So before there was a background here, but not anymore. Right here we can choose the output for the FaceTime call, and this replaces the messages right here. That gets redesigned right here. and it just looks a lot better. Tapping this will turn on and off the lights. As you can see right there, that turns it off, that turns it off. And tapping right here, you can adjust it. You no longer need to tap and hold it. And it just is a lot better in my opinion. Oh yeah, this was rewritten from the ground up, and it's a lot more reliable supposedly. Now the last major feature in iOS 16 has to do with medications. Tapping right here, you can now set up medications, and it'll basically remind you when to get medications, and tell you all your medications right here, and also tell you some interactions. It's just a nice new way to track your medications if you take it. It was fun beta testing iOS 16, and while it was buggy a lot before, it has definitely improved, and it feels really on par with iOS 15.5. which was the last smooth release until now. So I hope you enjoyed iOS 16. Comment down below what your favorite feature is of iOS 16. Like and subscribe and share it with your friends, and I'll see you when 16.1 comes out. Bye!